Oh, the first thing ever would have just been because I went in for the acne very early. That was definitely the
Mm,
thing that I kept up with the doctors the whole time. Because my mom also had cystic acne when she was younger. So we went to the exact same dermatologist, even, and my mom eventually used Accutane. So we'll get there. But it
mm,
started out actually very benign. She tried to do the best that she could. Again, another good doctor trying to do the best that they can with what they know. And it started out with just like, I mean, the Clearasil's and the Proactives, like make sure you're trying
mhm,
some of these systems and do that. Okay, that doesn't work. Then the antibiotics came in. And I had already taken a lot of antibiotics. I was still taking them frequently because of these sinus infections I would get. And so I ended up being on like well over 20 courses of antibiotics before the age of 18. And when I say courses, I mean some of these lasted over a month. So
mm,
I was beating the hell out of my gut too, which of course just made the acne worse after it's done. The other thing, I would say this is the thing that probably worked the best as a treatment. It was the tretinoin cream,
mhm,
retinol that people get prescribed, and which is really interesting because the average consumer of this stuff does not understand that Accutane is more or less a synthetic vitamin A derivative. Now, I'm not
mm,
recommending it, but I'm saying that's what it is.
mm,
Similarly, tretinoin is actually that as well. It's more or less the topical version. So it was interesting because that did work, but it would dry out your skin like crazy. So now
mhm,
my skin's flaking. You could not spend any amount of time in the sun. I'm already white as it is. If I spend any amount of time out in the sun, you're going to fry, burn, peel. So there was limitations with that. And then, of course, once I was starting to think from this holistic perspective, I realized this is just treating a symptom. So I'm
mm,
happy that it's working, but I still want something more. And then finally, it was I had to be 19 or 20 years old. I got prescribed Accutane. And this is so dramatic. I might have told you this before privately, actually, on our other podcast, but I literally remember I filled the prescription. I went to the pharmacy and I filled the prescription and I sat in the car and I looked in the mirror a bunch of times and then I would look at the pills and I'd look in the mirror and I'd look at the pills. And I kept thinking to myself, all right, because I already knew a little bit about natural health. I had not fully committed to it, but I knew about it. And I said, can I possibly be in any worse physical, mental, or emotional pain right now? Like, it really is one more pimple going to be the thing that completely shatters my self esteem, the last 1% that there is. No, I am humiliated. I have acne all over my face. One more pimple, no one's even going to notice. And that wasn't just denial. That's real, right? No one would be
mm,
able to notice because there's so many. So, what I did is I said, well, wait, this is an opportunity then because I know how dangerous Accutane is. I don't want to take this, but the stress of the acne is killing me, probably worse than the
mm,
Accutane will. And that's real too. That's a real point. But I said I might as well, take another 2 weeks to a month to experiment with some things that I normally wouldn't do to see if it impacts my skin. And if it doesn't, the Accutane will still be there. And if it does, well, then thank God I tried. And so I did not take even one single pill of Accutane. I like actually popped it out of the thing. I threw that one away and I said, I'm just going to go do this first. And my first real experiment I fully committed to was I went all organic for 30 days. So I don't even mean like low carb. I don't mean paleo. I don't mean vegan. None of that. I was
mm,
19. That was
mm,
above my pay grade to do any of those things at the time. I said, all I'm going to do is go to this local health food store. I will buy the exact same stuff that I have right now, and I will just buy it organically. And I'm going to try to do a little less sugar. I remember that being one of the goals too, is a little bit less sugar, but I would still buy organic processed foods, right? So it's not that I'm recommending that. I'm just saying that's what
mm,
I was doing.
mm,
I also said I'm going to stop the cleansers. So what I'm getting at here is anyone who suffered with acne knows this. You spend a lot of time on the internet forums getting these very weird recommendations, but some of them are sound. And so people would talk about the processed food, sugar. Also, people would talk about this kind of paradoxical thing where they're like, well, stop using cleansers and that could help your skin. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine stopping using a cleanser. That sounds like a scary thing to do because
mm.
I've used it since I was 9 now. So I stopped the cleansers. I start eating organic. I said, I'm just going to give this 30 days. I kid you not, that photo that I showed you before, the extreme one, my
Mhm.
skin got about 70% better within those 30 days.
Thanks for watching this video, and you can find the full-length podcast episode here on this channel, or you can head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify, and don't forget to like this video.